Daddy Ben as a father and as a student. I'd like to put them together because they're somehow related to what I'm about to say. Back when I was a child, I was very sickly. I'm always ill with something, sometimes even fatal. There was a time wherein I had such a bad sickness that Daddy Ben had been there, always by my side, helping me. And this was back in the Philippines. It was even harder for him because at that time, Mommy Belen was gone already. She died when I was 10 years old, and after that, Daddy Ben became a mother figure as well as a dad to me, and that wasn't easy. Most and most especially to a sickly little girl like me back then. He was not much of words, but he is of action. And for some reason, even a simple touch of his hand, like he would go like this to my hair, or fix me food that I like, would mean so much to me back then, because that's his way of telling me that he cared a lot. As I grew up, I try to be as active as I can, just like Dad, because that's what he was. He was always in some form of organization or church activities, and I love what he does. So I guess subconsciously, I tried to be like him. When I went to college in Manila, I pretty much entered all the clubs in that school. And it overwhelmed me to a point wherein, again, I got very sick. To a point wherein I couldn't go to that school anymore because it was just too far from Kawit. And that school was in Manila. So I told my dad it would be best for me to go to a nearby school, which is at that time San Sebastian College. And he said, great, that is a great school because I graduated there. And so when I went there, I was so excited. There were pros and cons for going there. The advantage that I had was that in the classroom, the moment, the roll call, roll call. When the roll call happens, the teacher would say, Ruby Toledo, are you related in any way to Mr. Ruben Toledo, Sr.? And so with much pride, I said, yes, I am. And then the professor would go, oh, okay, so I expect you to be as intelligent as your father. So I go, oh, shit. It's a big shoe to fill. But at the same time, I was proud. And it went on and on until I realized that all the professors I had pretty much know my dad, and they have high regards for him. One of them even said that, Ruby, and this was in front of my class, she said, of all the retired Navies that went to school here because of the grant they get once you retire, he is the only one who really took advantage of that grant, because most of them only go to school just to get the check. But your dad took it seriously, and as a matter of fact, he was in the honor rolls. And she said that in front of the class, and I felt so proud. But again, felt very, very I felt pressured to do good. And it did, work out well for me. One time, there was a Miss San Sebastian pageant that's going on that year. And each class has to represent one muse. So they all nominated me to be the representative. And that was not my cup of tea, so I refused. And the teacher said, well, Ruby, if you refuse this, I'm going to have to blackmail you. I'm going to tell your dad that you missed my class the other day. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay, then I will. So with that, the pageant just went on with the help of my sister. And Dad was there, of course, during the actual contest. I happened to win. I would never forget that, because it was not the title, it was not the experience, but that look on my father's face when I won. I've never seen him so proud of me the way I saw him that night. Because I tried, because like I said, he's got a big shoe to fill, and he is just so perfect in every sense that it was just so hard to be like him. But that look on his face that night was priceless for me, and I will never forget that.
I want to describe my dad as the model father and my teacher in growing up. I remember when I was in third grade, that was my first year transferring to St. Mary Magdalene School. It's a private Catholic school, and that was my first Filipino-oriented school. And I had to memorize the Panatang Makabayan, which is the Pledge of Allegiance for the Philippines. And in third grade, I remember wanting to do my best all the time, because that's just the way it was at home. My dad just wanted us to do our best. And so I remember one day I couldn't memorize it because it was so hard. I couldn't understand a word. And my dad was coming from Subic because he was still active in the U.S. Navy. And he had to travel like 4 hours. That's minimum without traffic. And I waited for him, until midnight, and he finally came. And you would think that he would be so tired, but he actually stayed up and helped me memorize that pledge until I got it. That's the kind of dad he was. And through school, I remember I would want to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and he would get me up because I would tell him, "Dad, please wake me up." And he would get me up at 3:30 and actually make me some coffee and breakfast and make sure that I've got everything I need, and then he goes back to bed. He did that all the time whenever I would ask him to. And then in college, in the University of the Philippines, I was having a hard time with algebra. And I remember having a heart-to-heart talk with my dad because I wanted to change schools. I thought that was so, it was so hard to pass that subject. And what he did was he sat down with me, and then he just listened to me gripe. And then he said, "Okay, Cindy, just do your best, and after this term, we can talk again, and then we can talk about plans, that you want." And so I'm so glad that he stopped me and just pretty much listened to me. And so in raising my own kids, that's what I would try to do, is to not make decisions for them, but have them make decisions for themselves. I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned growing up, with Dad teaching me all these lessons in life. Okay. Looking back, it seems just like yesterday, but as it happens and as my life rolls in front of me, whenever I'm confronted with a crisis, I always look back and I would ask myself, how would Dad have handled this? And I just find myself doing that all the time. And I think that's also something that I've shared with my kids. He would always just stop and, again, listen and see where it goes. A big value or a big virtue that I've learned from my dad is being generous. He never taught us how to be generous, but it's something I've seen and witnessed, as I was growing up. Sometimes I remember, there would be a flood, there would be flooding, and all I would remember was the next day we would have strangers in the house, and my dad would say, "Oh, I let them sleep here because they live so far away and they got stranded in the flood." So that's the kind of person he was. It was always an open house. Our house was always full of people, and he always opened the doors for anybody who needs help. Here in America, I guess it's hard to do that, but in my own way, I try to emulate that and try to teach my kids that this is the basic lesson that sharing is caring. There was a time that I remember clearly, and this just happened recently too. I saw my dad so seriously sitting in the living room, and there was an old lady sitting with him who looked like she was having some financial hardship. And my dad would just keep quiet and listen to her, and I think she was talking for an hour, and then after she left, I asked my dad, "Dad, who's that?" And he said, "I don't know, but she said she needed help, so I just gave her some whatever I have here in my wallet," and she was very thankful. He not only gives the person what the person wants, but he also spends time to listen to that person, because sometimes that's all a person needs, is somebody to kind of validate her feelings. So that was really wonderful. I was so proud of my dad. And that was just recent. That was like a year ago. He was 89. He still shares.
Okay, describe Daddy Ben the man. Kung i-describe ko siya sa lahat ng katangian na pagkakakilala ko sa kanya bilang tao, aabutin talaga tayo ng umaga dito. Pero i-narrow down ko na lang sa pagkakakilala ko sa kanya bilang tao. Si Daddy Ben, he's a man of integrity. Yun ang number one. Talagang sa lahat ng ginagawa niya, laging bukal sa puso niya, at magandang intention niya. Yun ang kaya naman pag nakilala mo si Daddy talaga, talagang pag nakilala mo siya ng lubusan, talagang yung tiwala mo sa kanya talagang mabubuo, dahil nga malalaman mo, mararamdaman mo sa mga ginagawa niya na talagang magandang intensyon niya sa mga sa mga lumalapit sa kanya, sa pagbibigay niya ng advice, sa pag-aayos niya ng mga pagka medyo may kaguluhan. Yun ang mararamdaman mo sa kanya. Wala siyang gusto kundi maging maayos ang lahat. Daddy Ben, he's a people person. Talagang siya yung klase ng tao na ma-meet mo lang siya once, hindi mo siya malilimutan, because yung meron siyang certain aura na talagang aalis ka ng masaya ka, nakangiti ka, magandang pakiramdam mo, dahil yung the way he would talk to people, entertain, basta yung the way nakausapin niya yung mga tao, maramdaman mo sa kanya yung pagka-genuine ng puso niya. Okay, fondest memory with Daddy Ben. Marami pero looking back sa ngayon, ang maisip ko lang yung kapag kami mga family gatherings kami, whether it's a big gathering na talagang may special occasion o nagsasama-sama lang kami for a Sunday brunch o dito lang sa bahay magkakantahan o ano, lagi siyang lagi siyang nandoon at yung ngiti sa mata niya, yung ngiti sa mukha niya, sa saya niya, yun ang nakakataba ng puso sa akin. Siya yung yung pagka sabi ko maliit man o malaking occasion, lagi niyang hawak ang camera, lagi hawak ang video camera o yung still cameras para mag-capture yung mga memories na yon. At doon ako believe sa kanya dahil talagang gusto niya, lahat yon ma-record niya o makuha na niya ng picture, dahil pwede namin balik-balikan yung mga memories na yon. And for him to parang sacrifice na maupo na lang sana siya at mag-enjoy, hindi siya ganoon. Kukunin niya talaga yung camera niya at gusto niya ma-capture lahat yan. And then kaya yun ang pag naisip ko ngayon sa lahat ng mga memories ko na kasama ko sa daddy, ang pinaka-special nga sa akin ay yung the way he just enjoyed the family, the way he wanted to capture every moment, and yung makikita mong saya sa mukha niya kapag nagkukuha siya ng mga videos or pictures, priceless talaga. Kaya every time I look back, yun ang sa mga kasama ko sa daddy, yung kahit na hindi yung physical kaming may ginawa together, pero just watching him do what he enjoys most, yun nga yung family mga family affairs, at gusto niyang makuha lahat yon. At yung niya, yung mukha niya lights up, yun ang yun ang parang mas pinaka-special sa akin. Okay.
All right, Daddy Ben as a dancer. Oh boy. If we had Dancing with the Stars back then, he would have won it over and over. He was such an excellent ballroom dancer. I didn't see that while we were in the Philippines, but when we moved here, we used to attend a lot of Phil-Am leagues, and there's dancing all the time. And he was the most popular guy in the room. And I give it up for Mami Oli because different ladies would actually pick up my dad, and he would dance all night long. At the same time, he knew that there were certain songs that my mom would like, and he would stop and say, "Okay, I'll get you the next one," and Mami Oli would be the one that he would be dancing with. But my dad probably never even sat down because he was that popular. Daddy Ben as a speaker. Boy, the man can speak. He is very, very articulate. We all admire the way he speaks. He used to read at church. He would do readings in the Philippines and here, but mainly in the Philippines, and that was every week. And boy, everybody listened. Not just that, he also spoke for the Phil-Am League. He was always voted president because not only he was smart, he knew what to say. He knew how to have people listen to him and admire him. Also, the other thing that I forgot about is that he was a radio talk show host. Not only he can talk, but he's really funny. He could be very funny. He has jokes that no one would think of, and he knows exactly when to be serious and when to be funny, and that's pretty cool. All right, Daddy Ben has 4 kids. I'm the youngest and the cutest. And he has 8 grandkids and 3 great-grandkids. Unconditional love for all of us. He's not shown any favoritism. He treats all of us the same way, same love, from the kids to grandkids and great-grandkids. The grandkids, so we have 2 each. It doesn't matter whether they're here with him or away from him. He just knows exactly how to love each one of them. And the response from the grandkids is unreal because they feel exactly the love that he gives them. Great grandkids are still very little, but again, he doesn't treat them any differently.
These